Hello everybody, my name is Farah and today we're going to be talking about visual effects. Now don't get this confused with special effects, that's all the stuff you do on set, anything practical. We're going to be getting into visual effects, all the stuff that's either too dangerous to do on set or just doesn't exist in the real world. To get started off, let's talk about some of the different types of visual effects. First we've got compositing. This is when you get your digital aspects like your explosions, clouds of smoke or fake backgrounds and combine those layers with the live action footage to create your scene. Tracking. This is when you copy and merge the camera movement that was shot to the visual effect. This is done by locating the points of movement and applying that to the effect so it parrots the shot and blends into the scene. Rotoscoping. Rotoscoping is when you manually cut out something in an already existing shot. Because the footage is only one layer, you'll need to cut it out frame by frame to make yourself a new layer to put in front or behind your effect. Keying. This is your green screen and blue screen. You're basically selecting a colour and saying to the computer that you want to remove that colour from the shot. This leaves you to fill in the green screen with effects or backgrounds and still keep everything else. Matte paintings. These have been around for a while now. What they did was they got a piece of glass and basically just painted over that and set it up in front of the camera to fit the frame. I feel most people would recognise this technique in Star Wars as it was used to create backgrounds or was just a cheaper way not to have to hire so many actors as they would just paint in the stormtroopers. Lastly, we've got your 3D elements. These are, for example, your models, which enable you to create your own vehicles, buildings, robots, etc. We've got texturing to basically colour in objects and models. You've got simulations, which are explosions, things breaking. You can simulate water or any kind of liquid. Particle effects, effects which can add up to make fire or to make smoke or water. And lighting. You'll use fake lighting on your models or rigs to improve the way they fit in with the environment. One of the first effects seen in film was the stop trick in 1895, seen with the short film The Execution of Mary Queen of Scots. It shows a blindfolded Mary being brought to the execution block, and when the executioner raises his axe, the clip is stopped and the actress who plays Mary was swapped out for a mannequin. The executioner then brings down his axe and chops off the head of the mannequin. This was then edited to not show the swap out, making it seem it was really Mary who was executed. A great example to show how effects have improved would be in the Mandalorian TV series, which had its first season aired in 2019. In The Mandalorian, they use real-time rendered images on an LED screen to create their own virtual set. There are parts of the set where the actors are interacting with objects, which are of course actually there, but if you go 10 feet beyond that, suddenly the background you're seeing isn't real and is just a massive computer screen. Although this has been done in the past, something that really makes this stand out is the way they are able to utilise it with a moving camera. To film this, they use a 3D track camera, which means the screen is constantly able to adjust the perspective of the background to that camera. This is all possible with the use of a real-time game engine, doing it frame by frame so that everything being filmed gets captured to make the image look much more natural. This new way of capturing seamless and realistic backgrounds has completely changed the way we will film sets and locations, and has set up the possibility to get rid of green screens completely in the future. Industrial Lights and Magic are an American motion pictures visual effects company that was founded in May 1975 by George Lucas. Although it was intentionally made to work on the special effects in Star Wars, ILM has become a world-renowned special effects company. George Lucas created ILM starting from scratch to make his unique vision of Star Wars a reality. He hired John Dykstra to supervise and assemble a team which consisted of artists, engineers, and college students. They made the unique and iconic images of Star Wars by using new techniques and combining them with old ones such as matte paintings, models, and compositing. One of ILM's big breakthrough and memorable films was Jurassic Park in 1993. Although it didn't really introduce anything new, it was the first to successfully hide its effects and seamlessly blend in the digital work with the practical alternatives they originally intended on using. At the time, ILM had been working with computer graphs and had put together a CG T-Rex. However, they didn't want to fully rely on CG to create all the effects. ILM then collaborated with Tippett Studios to combine their CG with practical elements, so anything that was too detailed for the CG would be achieved with the full-scale animatronics or the bigatures. It gave the animators a real-life reference for weight, dimension, and something physical to occupy the space in the frame that would be difficult to create from scratch. The main key to a believable effect is the way they are integrated into the physical world. To see the digital image with close-ups of skin, eyes and teeth, which are physically there, means that when you get to the CGI T-Rex in motion, everything has already been pieced together in your mind that it's real. To get a better understanding on visual effects, I have done an interview with my college teacher who has experience working in the subject.
My favourite visual effects goes back to the Star Wars days. When I was a kid, when the film came out, I was only 4 or 5, and seeing that kind of quality of spaceships and things like that was completely different. And I guess even a few years after that, the quality of kind of visual effects hadn't matched what ILM had done at that time. And people were all still playing catch up for a few years after that. I think a visual effect that is really impressing me these days is what we're seeing with the Mandalorian. The virtual studio that they're using there is just incredible, and the process is completely speeding up, getting rid of green screen pretty much completely now, and making it possible to quickly set up scenes, film, and not have to worry about spending hours doing kind of roto work to clean up kind of green screen spill and things like that. So it's really impressive. So what makes a good visual effect? I guess when you come down to it, it's got to be believability. Is it, physically possible? Is it, is the lighting right? There's so many things, but it's the believability. I remember there's a bad example of visual effects is in one of the Lord of the Rings films, where there's a sequence where Legolas kind of jumps onto a moving horse, and it's so badly done he kind of flips round the front of the horse and lands on it straight on, and it's just completely kind of doesn't fit, it doesn't look right. And the compositing's all right and the lighting's okay, but just the way he moves and lands on this horse is just unbelievable. The best software for visual effects, I guess, when you're starting out, After Effects, and then you'd probably graduate to using Nuke, which is the industry standard for compositing software. Do I enjoy working in visual effects? Yeah, sure. I mean, who wouldn't? I get to blow things up, I get to make giant robots, I get to put people in spooky environments, all that kind of thing. Yeah, it's great. It can be long-winded and it can be heartbreaking when, you can't make it look real, but in the end, it's a great job to be in. The important thing to know about going into the visual effects industry is that you'll probably go in at the bottom and you'll be doing roto work and lots of kind of cutting out and color correction and simple jobs like that before you get to work your way up into kind of more kind of awe-inspiring scenes where you're creating explosions and things like that. And it takes a while, and it's a lot of long hours, but in the end I think it's a fulfilling job and you'll get kind of real satisfaction from it.
So this has been a brief look into visual effects. They're incredibly important in the film industry, especially with the way the technology we use is always improving, giving us the chance to create things we thought were nearly impossible. Visual effects are another tool to tell stories with and captivate the audience in a way that has them feeling like what they're watching is so realistic that they are part of the stories themselves. I hope that this has interested you in learning more about how they are made and the impact they have in films. I will leave links to some of my favourite YouTube channels and websites in the description, and thank you guys for watching.